Hello there, my YouTube family. How are you? I am Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper, coming back to you once again. I want to thank you and appreciate all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And if you have not subscribed, why don't you take this moment right now to subscribe to my channel? Push that bell, and every time I upload new content, you will be notified. Let's talk about something that many of you are writing about. You say, I'm totally stressed out. I'm totally drained out, and I don't know what else to do. Can you help me? Why am I so stressed? And I seem to incur some memory loss. I'm sick behind this. I'm not understanding what happened. When you are in a relationship with someone who has NPD, it's an incurable state. It is not something that over time get better. And even when they can go to therapy, it's not curable. It helps them to handle, to manage. And those of you who are dealing very stressfully in this relationship is relational, but it's one way usually. And it's the narcissist enveloping what they want, getting what they want at the risk of you. And you're saying that the devastation of this relationship has now caused some psychological and physiological devastation to the body. Well, when you are with a narcissist and you are having memory loss, there's a reason for that. When you're under constant and chronic strain, the body starts to react. Now, we can take and minimize that. We can excuse it. We can disassociate with it. We can have cognizant dissonance toward it. But your body is going to administrate the truth. Your body's going to tell you, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this anymore. This is an overload. This is too much. We need out. I need an answer. Your body will tell you that. And you need to listen to those signals that your body is giving off. And many of you have written me and you said, I'm having problems remembering things. Well, stress can cause some serious short-term memory in the hypothalamus gland. And what happens is when you are stressed, cortisol is released from that gland. And when you are under constant stress, it is not good for you to be under constant stress. And that cortisol that is released in your body, because constant stress, it does affect the brain. And when you go and get a sonogram, or get a MRI on the brain, and they have done different studies of a person in the room with the narcissist, and then they take and put them under MRI, or the narcissist holding their hand, or the narcissist walk in the room, and they do probes on them to study the stress level, how the stress level is heightened at the thought of the narcissist walking in the room, the thought of the narcissist being in the room, or the thought of going back home to the narcissist. Their stress level went off the charts. Now, constant stress affects the brain. Chronic and continuous stress affect the whole body. And what happens with that is it can affect the size of the brain. It can also affect the operation and the structure of the brain, right down to the level of your genetics can be affected by stress. And that relationship is stress. When you have a relationship that is not mutual, or the equilibrium of that relationship in giving and taking, and it's always taking, it's always about that person, it's a consumption about the narcissist, and you are wondering, when is it going to be my turn? When am I've even had children by the narcissist, and it's still about the narcissist. You have to have an understanding of NPD. You have to have an understanding of the character and the characteristics of NPD. Programs like mine, programs like Dr. Carmen Bryan, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, the T on NPD, Dr. Telsha, Edinburgh, Karen, Cluster B Free Karen. And so these individuals will very informative when it comes to these type of relationships. They no longer call them relationship, they call them transactions. And they call them transaction but because it's a one-way consideration. And usually when the narcissist cannot get their way, it's no way at all, it's turbulence all the way. So this releases in the hypothalamus gland. And the hypothalamus gland, when you are constantly stressed, release this cortisol in the body. And the cortisol constantly in the body is not good for the body. They did a study with Mahamita Murgia in 2017. And this test, what it did, it studied stress. And when it studies stress, especially when you're with a toxic person or when you go with someone with MPD, they found out that the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, the gland that releases the cortisol, to kind of balance out the system when you are frightened to know what to do, or when you get into a situation and your adrenaline go up so you can make a wise decision for your safety. But when you're doing this all the time and the adrenal gland is working, the adrenaline gland is working, and you're constantly producing cortisol, and you notice that you're big around your stomach starts seeming swelling, you start to seem really gassy, you start having issues with your stomach, issues with your digestive system, and issues with memory loss. Some of you have blurred vision. Some of you start having chronic headaches, and you notice your neck is stiff, your ear, you start having ear problems. So it's a lot of problems that can come from the cortisol constantly in your body from stress, memory loss from stress, especially that short-term memory loss where you are stressed out and you don't know how to come from under that stress because you're in a relationship, you're married to the narcissist live with you, you're in a relationship, and every day there's one situation after another situation, and you never get a reprieve, you never get a relief, so you're under this constant stress. And listen to this. This also affects your endocrine gland. And it is on the brain and on the kidneys. So when you're under this stress, what you're going to find, you're not only having memory loss, headache, blurred vision, affecting your ears and sometimes the jaws. All of this is there as long as you are with the narcissist, as long as you're under that stress arena. But what happens is it is also this glands, this endocrine glands, is on the brain and on the kidney. So now you'll start having issues where you are having problems going to the bathroom. You're having problems bloating. You're having problems, you can't no longer hold urine. You just are letting go, or you are constantly having situations with your kidneys. You're having edema, you're having swelling, you're having water retention. That water retention is causing pressure because now you got circulatory problems because you got all of this swelling, all of this edema going on. Then next thing you know, you're having heart issues. So it's a lot of things that are coming. And when you're having problems with your kidneys, a lot of times you end up having breathing problems. Anything related to this, all because of stress. So stress is a very, very, very serious issue. It's serious without a relationship with someone who is a narcissist. So if you add the dynamics of MPD to already stressed situations, then you have yourself a situation. You got to come from under that stress. You got to learn how to relax. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. You got to learn how to pull out those situations. You have to learn to have groups, support groups. You have to learn to put back into yourself. If you have a family, that you can take a break, leave where you are. And sometimes you have to leave out of the environment because the environment is associated with the stress that you are going through. And the stress that you are going through requires that you face or get into another environment to take your mind off of everything that you've been through with that individual, because you got trust issues, stress. Because they're serial cheaters. You proved it, but you can't prove it because somehow they turn your words around and gaslight you, and you are so confused because of the consistency of this behavior. And the next thing you know, you have so much short-term memory loss until now you don't even trust yourself, and this can cause confusion, paranoia, fear. I mean, tremendous around the fear where you are now paranoid of different things, and your trust issue has been totally compromised. And then if you are a parent, you can't even trust yourself sometimes parenting the kids because your level of stress is off the scale, and the cortisol in your body off the scales. Let's do something about this. Let's turn this thing around, because just because it is an occurrence don't mean it have to be a continuum. You can change it, and sometimes you're the only one who can. And you can believe God that I am going to alter this situation. I'm going to build my mind stronger than the situation where I need to pull out for my life's sake, so that I can be a parent to the children, so I can self-care, so I can live, so I can dream, so I can do something, so I can make a cognizant decision of what I need to do. Now, listen to this. This adrenaline gland, or this endocrine gland, this can cause tremendous devastation to the body with eliminating waste, and like I said, edema, which is you swole, you're just swelling. And many of you, you're on your feet all the time, you're working, you are having responsibility that should be shared responsibility, but the responsibility is on you. And then when you say something about it, the blame comes to you. And sometimes for the sake of peace, you want to do everything just so that you can have the peace. Sometimes you have to confront the issue, because peace is not there when you are carrying the weight of everything. And now it's affecting your psychological, and now it's affecting your body. And many of you had to get on medications because of this, because you are under so much stress, because the cortisol is constantly running in your body, going in your body. Come on now. You have to make a cognizant decision. This stress can cause circulatory issues, heart issues. It can trigger in the areas of it, many other areas of the brain, because stress from a relational traumatized interaction, which the supply calls relationship, but circumstances in life and reality calls it a transaction. And the longer you stay in this, and the consistency of that stress, and the consistency of the release of that cortisol that's in your body, and many of you that escaped or have been discarded, because sometimes a discard can really be a blessing, because now you are on the way to healing, and only healing gets you to wholeness. Many of you experience healing. That's an ongoing process, but the wholeness of you again is when the process has manifested and matured in you, where you're getting yourself back, you're getting your dreams back, you're getting your life back. And this is only part one of stress and a relationship with the narcissist. Stress and the effects of stress and the relationship with the narcissist. And the more cortisol is released in the body for long periods of time, it destroys activities and levels of neural connections called the amygdala. And this is the brain that lets you know when something is wrong, the fear centers. And the cortisol explode, and signals is sent against your learning center, which is all a part of the hypothalamus, and it explodes in your brain where all of this cortisol that goes to the body, it affects your learning center, it affects your memory, and the area that controls the stress, it begins to break that down where you no longer are controlling your stress. Can you imagine that the very gland that is there to help you to control the stress is now being deteriorated from the stress. And so you can't control the stress. And you notice more and more you're getting greater levels of stress. You're interacting with stress more. More cortisol is released from the body and you're dealing with it. And like I said, around your midsection, you can really tell because your stomach start to get big. Or many of you totally lose your appetite. I mean, you cannot eat and everything you eat goes straight through your system. You find that you're nervous. Why? Because now your nervous system is being affected by the stress level that you are enduring. And you can endure because usually MPD is a draining relationship because it takes so much to maintain it. It takes so much to have it. Why? Because it's one way, the narcissist way or no way. And the narcissists usually don't give themselves or share themselves because the narcissists have it their way. Excuse me for a minute. I got hair in my eye. Need to get the hair out of my eye. And listen to this. The HPA axis, which is in the brain, is inhibited from obsessive and continual cortisol, and it weakens your ability to control your stress. So in order to control your stress, you have to come from under the cortisol. You have to come from under the stress. Anything that is on a continual basis can wreak devastation. You know, if you took a small hammer and you kept hitting it on a wall that was thick, eventually you're going to penetrate that material because a consistent hitting with a small item can be more damaging than a big item with a one-time blow because you're consistently hammering at it. And I have other videos that is going to talk about you about transcription, rewriting your thoughts, rewriting your dreams, rewriting your mind. And many of you with the transcription and the rewriting of who you are, you are changing who you are. When you see yourself, you see the distance in your eyes, the vagueness of your eyes. You see where there's no light or life in your eyes because really on the inside, you've given up. You've given up hope. Or many of you that have been discarded, the discard, which I'm going to do another video, updated video on discard, because discard is painful. And don't let anyone tell you it's not. But discard is not impossible to overthrow. You can overthrow. And who you were before, you won't just become that person again. You're going to be much better than that person. Because the one thing that you can do and will do is avoid being recaptured into a relationship that discards you, a relationship that doesn't consider you, a relationship that devalues you, and the relationship is maintaining high levels of stress and high levels of cortisol, where you have to fight for life every day, breathing, and then you go to the doctor, they do all of these tests, and the tests come back negative. And so then the doctor thinks that you are having psychological issues because he thinks you're having psychological health issues. And it's all from the stress. It's not psychological. Many of you have written me and say, you know, am I crazy? No, you're not. You're under a stressful relationship that is taking all of your energy, that is taking all of your dream. And once you get rid of your hope, you know, you have nothing left. You never lose your hope. You never lose yourself. And I'm telling you, there's some fight back in you, and there's some comeback with your fight back. Listen to this right here. This can produce evasive mental breakdowns, suicidal thoughts, uncontrollable crying, where you're crying all the time. You're washing dishes, nothing is wrong. And all of a sudden you stop. And I mean, you are doing more than crying. You are weeping. You are weeping. You are crying. It's all the time. And even your kids now are trying to comfort you. Mom, what's wrong? Dad, what's wrong? Because you are having a mental breakdown. And your psychic is telling you this is too much. Your psychological is telling you, I need to back off. I need him to back down. Well, if he don't back down, you can get up. You can still get up. You have to feed what he's destroying. You have to capture what he's trying to put away. You cannot allow another person to come in invasively and pervasively and take over who you are and give you an identification card that is a lie. because you are powerful. The Bible says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are motivated. You are sanctioned. You are powerful. And I'm telling you, if you got a dream, if you have an idea, it can come to pass. You have to soak and wet yourself in the things that you want to do, because sometimes you have to be the one to look in the mirror and say, I can, I will, and I won't do this anymore. I got a video when the supply has had enough. I mean, read that video, see that video, hear that video, do it over again, over again, and don't stop. Keep that video going. It will bring your will to a place where your will will say no more. The answer is no, and no is a sentence. Those two letters is a sentence all by itself. You have to recapture yourself and come from under that cortisol, because a lot of times it's not weight, it's swelling. You have edema. If you're swelling, you're not eating, and you're just blowing up. And you can see the water weight as you push in your skin. The imprint stays there. And your doctor's trying to figure out, what all the tests coming back negative. Your brain waves came back negative. Your heart is in good condition. Your blood pressure, many of you, blood pressure's off the charts, because one of the signs once you go under cortisone, your blood pressure goes up. Blood sugar goes out of whack. Everything goes off. You can't manage your body because you can't manage your stress. And so your body is the equilibrium to tell you when things are off, when things are balanced, and when you need to back off, or when you need to add something to you. Your body will administrate. Now, you can have cognizant dissonance and say this is not happening, but your body is not going to say that. Your body says happening all day, and we need to do something about it. So when you get triggered in areas and your nervous system is off, and you are fearful, the car pulls up and you notice you just a nerve ball. I mean, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. And sometimes you freeze. When they pull up, you freeze. And they ask, what's wrong with you? I told you were crazy. I told you something was wrong with you. And I leave you here with the kids. It's the kids, all right. It starts all over again, and you have no value system of yourself. You have to recapture yourself. Cortisol is not good for you. And so when you said I'm stressed out, when you say I feel drained all the time, I'm having short-term memory loss. My vision now has become blurred. I'm swelling, and I don't know why, because I'm not eating a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm missing days without eating. You don't have sleep deprivation. You don't have sleep pattern interruption. You go to work and you're tired all the time because you're not sleeping. Your eyes are dark, and you're trying to put makeup on to cover up the dark circle. Your eyes are bloodshot red, and you're getting blurred vision, even though you done upgraded your glasses. You're wondering what's happening. You're sick on your stomach all the time, and you feel nauseated, and you're wondering, what is wrong with me? You're in a relationship with someone who has NPD, and that is a very seriously stressful relationship. When you're with someone that devalue you, they idolize you, the love bombing is off the chain, and then you keep trying to get what it brought you to them, what fasten you to them. And this trauma bond experience is a devastating experience for you. That cortisol in your body that is being released from the constant stress, can be very, very harsh. I'm telling you, you can recover, but you have to stay with the videos. Get the videos. There's many of us on the life coaches, trauma therapists. Some of you got to go beyond the life coach. You may have to see a trauma therapist first and then go to a life coach. When the problem is more devastating, a life coach is not the person that you need. If you're going to have a life coach and you done experienced a lot of trauma, you're going to have a life coach and a trauma specialist, because you have to get to that trauma, and you have to have a person who specializes in the trauma that don't know how to trigger you and leave you there. I'm telling you that you can get this cortisol out of your system. You can come from under that stress, and you don't have to feel drained all the time. When you got all of these things going on and the doctors are looking, and you're constantly going to the doctors, and then finally they see that your heart has been irregular, you got a regular heartbeat, but when they check other things that should be synonymous to that irregularity of your heart, it is not there. So they're trying to figure out what's wrong. And a lot of times the doctor will prescribe that you see a psychiatrist, that maybe you need someone to talk to. Maybe you need to relax. And the one thing you don't want to do is be stuck on medications where you are medicated all day and you don't know what's really going on around you. You don't need that. There are areas where you can be properly assessed by a trauma therapist and a psychiatrist. Don't be afraid to let them know what you are going to, because sometimes you just may need a counselor. And some of you just need someone to talk to before it even gets to that devastating stage where you have constant cortisol being released in your body. The swelling can leave. The irregularity in your eating habits, your sleeping habits, mental breakouts, and some of you are getting paranoid. You are hearing things because the narcissists keep telling you what is happening and what was not happening. Now you think are happening. No, because you're being gaslighted. And gaslight, when someone gaslight you, is meant for you to be crazy, think you're crazy, is meant for you to be confused and you don't know what is truth and what's not truth. And sometimes there's too much cortisol in the system. Some of you are disassociating. You don't know your reality. These are very tremendous and very serious danger zones. These are chronic symptoms that you should not ignore. Don't ignore when you have a consistent short-term memory loss. Don't ignore when you're having consistent pains. Don't ignore when you're not sleeping, you're swelling, circulatory system is going off, when you have irregularities of heart palpitation, you're having problems breathing. Don't ignore that. Help is necessary, and you get the help. You go to your doctor and let them know that you need help in these areas. Many of you Christians, if you have a church and you have a pastor, go to your pastor if you can, and make sure your pastor is not a religious narcissist. And you go to your pastor, if you can go to your pastor and they're a person of integrity, whether male or female, let them know you are having some issues. They can assign sessions with you and talk to you until they can get you in the right places to talk to the professionals. Or you can get in a group that specializes in narcissists, and they have good ratings of outcome. Make sure the outcome is beautiful. You don't want a person who done been through a narcissist relationship and they are being triggered and they are young themselves. They are not ready for what you need to unload and unlock. You're just looking for reprieve. So be careful in those areas. And remember, too much cortisol in the body can release some very serious symptoms. All right? I pray that I have answered many questions, because many of you are wondering what is wrong with me. I feel sick. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'm swelling. My heart is palpitating. I'm sweating. I'm fearful. I'm paranoid. I'm hearing things that are not there. I'm afraid to be with my children. I'm afraid to cook because I forget that I got food on the stove and I leave it on. It burns. The narcissist goes off on me. I have to clean up before he gets there and redo food because I done left food on the stove. If you have to, until your memory is restored, get a book, write things down, hey, this is what I'm doing. Put a time on it. It's just like if you got goals, you put time on goals. Put a time on it. I'm cooking spaghetti. It takes this. It takes that. And that way you will start to focus and to balance and bring yourself in an organized position until you can get the help that you need. So once again, I do recommend Psychology Today. You can look that up. They have therapists and psychiatrists, psychologists. They have counselors that can be available for you, and they specialize in MPD. They specialize in trauma, because some of you been so traumatized, you don't know how traumatized you are. And I'm telling you, if the narcissist is close to a family member, if the narcissist is close to a friend, that is not the friend you talk to. You talk to someone, usually the narcissist really don't like them. That may be the person that you need to talk to, that have not bonded with the narcissist or been fooled by the narcissist and pulled in their well. I want you to write me at DestinyHelper12s@gmail.com. DestinyHelper12s at gmail.com. You can remember again. You can get it together again. This is not the end of the race. Just because you lost the battle don't mean you lost the war. You can get up again. All of us on here telling you about things that we've been through. We've overcome it, and we did it when you can't even see the scars. And the best life we ever lived is the life we're living now for God. And I'm telling you, it's excellent, it's awesome, and I want to pull you in with me. I want to cheer you on, and I want to tell you that your best is yet to come. Baby, you may be crying now, but you're not going to cry forever. But wake up now and smell the coffee, because this is your morning time. And I want to say to you, good morning and good freedom. And I want you to write me once again at Destiny Helper 12s at gmail.com. Destiny Helper 12s at gmail.com. Also, I am preparing to do a Zoom, and it's Ask Your Destiny Helper. And this is where you can ask me anything, and we will be on Zoom together as a family, telling our testimony, encouraging one another, holding up your hands. And many of you have already responded, and I'm asking for more response. And I would love to do this Zoom with you and tell you all of the processes of getting this Zoom done. So I want you to write me and say, yes, I'm in. I want to do the Zoom, and I will set up everything for you to do this. And I'm looking forward for our family, our tribe, being together, strengthening one another. I'm telling you, your best days are ahead of you, and they are waiting gloriously for you. This is not the end of you. This is just the beginning. And I want you to join me in my next video. This is part 1, and I'm looking to do a part 2 in the weeks ahead. Thank you so much, and thank you for all of your support. Also join me on Clubhouse 7 a.m. every Monday. Please join me. I love you to life, and life is so wonderful because you are here. I'm Helen Sattler, your Destiny Helper. I look to see you in the next video.